Hi everyone, today I'm at the Revamped Malay Heritage Centre, which has been closed for a number of years and just reopened very recently. And now I'm at this outdoor area which looks pretty much similar to the previous time that I brought students here. As you can see, it is just beside Sultan Mosque and it's a beautiful outdoor area. At the entrance of the Malay Heritage Centre, there is a small little gift corner where you can buy memorabilia, and there are different options here. Upon entering the Malay Heritage Centre, the first gallery that you will see is actually this exhibition called Dari Rantau ke Rumah, From Region to Home. And this is an interesting, I think it's a clay sculpture which depicts the fluidity of Malay identity and history as well. So you can see it's actually quite abstract. So they are actually different forms, shapes and sizes. And you can see more over here. It's called Earthly Echoes, which is dried clay, sand and plaster. On the left of the exhibition, you can actually see a short video about the regional trade, the port cities and the trade routes of the Malay archipelago in Southeast Asia. So this is actually a good kind of overview for your students to take a look and to recap on the history of the first few hundred years that you'll be studying in the Sec 1 history syllabus. So you can click next to skip to the next part of this video. Here in this next part of the exhibition, you can see the history of Istana Kampong Gelam, and here are the archaeological findings and the fragments and shards of the bowls, coins, and here are the short video about the descendants of the Sultan. So I believe they are the 7th or 8th generation descendants. So the theme for here will be change and continuity. So while Istana Kampong Gelam is not presently around, it does not function at Istana, there are still descendants around. Moving on to the next gallery, you'll find there a lot of artifacts depicting regional and local history of the Malay archipelago. Here, you will find European maps and artifacts that depicts the local Malay history. So there is a Dutch, French, and Malay dictionary over here, and there are some Jawi documents. So this helps students to understand that the local and European versions of the history are captured in a very rich manner. The next part of the exhibition focuses on the items that can be found in the Malay court. Here you will see a rich and diverse display of items such as fans, garments, gold jewelry, and different items that are found in the Riau Linggau court that is very interesting and helps students to understand the significance of all these items in the Malay court tradition. And here are some of the instruments played in the Malay court. So in both the Javanese court and in Malaya as well, you see the flute, the gong, and the drums. So this will help students to understand the richness of the tradition. As we continue in the next part of the exhibition, we can see actually here is the continuation of the theme of the Malay royal court tradition and many artifacts that showcases the different aspects of the Malay court. The historical context is that the Malay royal families in the Johor Riau Sultanate were already fractured in divided loyalties, and in the Sec 1 syllabus we know that the Dutch and the British were actually playing at this division, but yet the Malay royal families continued their unity through intermarriages. So this is actually a good showcase for students about the agency of the Malay royal families, both at the Sec 1 history level or at the pure history level. So here you actually see the traditional Malay weapons of the kris. In the next part of the exhibition, it continues on the theme of change and continuity of the Malay kings in the Malay archipelago. However, it's through the lens of the Europeans. Here we can see European style paintings of the different ports. So this is the port of Malacca as viewed from the lens of the British, and there are different ideas about how a port city looks like in the European representation. You can see the European ships here as well as from the top of the hill in Penang. So here it helps students to understand from the European perspective how their power has already. This segment features traditional Malay fabric made by a woman named Halimah. She worked at the Malaya Pavilion during the colonial period, showcasing traditional Malay fabrics such as this. And now some of these fabrics have been kept at the Victoria and the Albert Museum. Here we can see more artifacts belonging to the Malay royal courts. What's interesting of these precious objects is that some of these objects are gifted to the colonial administrators such as the Dutch and the British as well. So students can see that objects represent a shift of power as well. Next, we can see different traditional Malay weapons, tools that are being used by traditional Malay families or societies. One of the interesting exhibit is the exhibit on the British Empire exhibition, which was a colonial era British exhibition showcasing the different British colonies such as Malaya. So you can see the posters of this period, and this is a map showcasing the different exhibitions in the British Empire and the exhibition itself with different cultures and the layout as well. So this was in 1914. This is the height of the power of the British Empire. Then this is the Malay Pavilion, which showcases different artifacts such as the coins of Malaya and a postcard as well. And we can see there is a silver model of a Malay house. Now this is another view of the Malay fabric that is made by Halimah, and this panel showcases the story of Halimah. So it actually says that she spent her days in the Malaya pavilion, she fell sick and eventually died, and she is buried in London. So you can see the intricate designs of the traditional Malay fabric that was showcased at the Malaya pavilion. This is an interactive panel where students get to interact with the script of the different Malay languages of the Malay archipelago. So you have the Jawi script, and it talks about the history and how it comes about, and they can type their name as well. So this is actually very interesting for students to get to know that the Malay archipelago is actually a very diverse place in terms of ethno-linguistics as well. Through this map panel, students can learn that the Malay archipelago and Southeast Asia is actually a very diverse place ethno-linguistically. So they can look at different parts of Southeast Asia to see the different languages that are written or spoken in different areas. So this helps them to understand the concept of diversity, especially in very big area such as Southeast Asia. One of the most famous Malay and Javanese puppetry is the wayang kulit, which is still very popular in Indonesia. So it's a form of traditional puppetry which draws some of the characters often from Hindu epics such as the Ramayana, and there are different heroes and heroines that are depicted. So you can see the goddess Sinta depicted here in Java. And of course, elephants, which is a very sacred animal in Hinduism. And students get to play with it as the light casts the shadow, and the puppet master will use the light and shadows to create intricate movements during the puppet show. This segment will be more interesting for pure history students, as it talks about the 1874 Bangor Treaty between the Malay rulers and the British in Perak. So we can see the original treaty signed here with the different signatories, and the significance of this treaty is long lasting, as it signifies a bigger shift of power from the Malay rulers to the British at that point of time, and gradually the British would actually gain full control of Malaya. This is a staircase to the level 2 of the exhibition. In this segment, you can actually see a mixed media abstract painting of the different characters that you usually would find in wayang kulit. So this is this more modern take on wayang kulit. So there is a staircase and there is a lift up as well for students who may have mobility issues. As students walk up the staircase, they can look up and see wayang kulit puppets hanging from the ceiling. In this next segment of the interaction portion, students can get to interact with different shops that represents different patterns and different symbolism. So they can simply just take a paper and chop it on the piece of paper. But when I chop it, I think some of the ink is a bit faint, so students can definitely use different colored papers to make the ink more visible. At the second level gallery, the title of this gallery is called Crafting with Nature, and it's about how Malay artisans were inspired by nature and animals such as birds. So you can see the centerpiece of this second floor gallery is actually a long wooden crafted Chongkok set, and is intricately designed with the feathers, the petals, and in the middle is the Chongkok piece, which is a traditional Malay game often played with stones or marble. This is a traditional Malay wooden coconut carving tool and is intricately designed as well. This is a traditional Malay tackle box, which is a wooden box used to store fishing tools. The second level video presentation is about a musician sharing about the intergenerational aspects of playing kompang together. The second level gallery shows an interesting display of colonial era posters about the Federated Malay States, some depicting railways, beaches, and maps of Malaya. So these are colonial representations of Malaya, which students can analyze to see how the British actually romanticized Malaya. In gallery, we can find different artifacts depicting the different aspects of social, cultural, and economic lifestyles of the Malays in the earlier 20th century in Singapore and Malaya. In this segment called Pursuing Knowledge, it showcases the advent of the printing press and Malay language publications, and students will get to see the typewriter, different Malay publications in Jawi, photographs, and how the Malay press start to play an important role in shaping Malay consciousness in the early 20th century. The gallery continues with another segment on making life in Singapore, which showcases the different community aspects of Malay life in Singapore. Here you can see different photographs showcasing the richness and diversity of the Malay community in Singapore. The artifacts also show a diverse range of songkoks, such as the Javanese style and the different Malay style songkoks, and costumes showcased in these black and white photographs. So students will get an idea of the diversity of the Malay Muslim community in Singapore in the early 20th century. And here we get to see the Hajj businesses, which operates as a mini industry because Singapore was a transit point for the Hajj within the Malay archipelago. So it showcases the different items, objects, and photographs of the Hajj travelers and the industry which these people travel to. Here are more items and artifacts showcasing the Hajj, and the Hajj is actually found in the Sec 1 syllabus. So this is actually a good area where students can do their historical investigation based on these artifacts and see how Singapore was connected to the other parts of the world through the Hajj. This next segment focuses on the rich heritage of Malay music produced in the 1950s and you can see Majula Singapura manuscript, the vinyl, and the score of Melayu Raya. So Malay music played an important part in shaping the national consciousness of Singapore. At its heyday, the Malay film production by the Shaw Brothers Film Studio produced numerous Malay films that are distributed around the region. Here you can see different artifacts and manuscripts of the different Malay film productions, and of course by the famous P. Ramlee, who was a director, actor and producer as well. This showcases the rich and diverse heritage of the Malay movie industry that helped to make Singapore one of the center of Malay film production. The next part of the exhibition focuses the advent of modernity for Malay women through Malay models, actresses, through fashion. Here you can see the different dresses and the costume changes of Malay women from the 1950s to the 1960s, and is showcased through the different actresses portrayed in the Malay movies. The centerpiece of this exhibition showcases different designs of baju kurung, kebaya, that showcases traditional Malay designs and more modern designs and colors, as you can see over here. This shows how Malay women's fashion sense have changed through the 1950s to the 60s to represent a new generation. Just below the exhibition of the costumes, you can see jewelries that are displayed over here, showcasing traditional Malay designs such as the flowers, and you can see different colors as well in the different pieces of the jewelry that are often paired with the costumes. Fashion magazines were already a thing in the 1950s and 60s. Here, the exhibit showcases the different designs, actresses as well, and the products that are used for fashion. So it helps students to understand change and continuity in the sense of dressing and the changing lifestyle of people in the Malay community in the 1950s to 60s. The next exhibit showcases another aspect of the Malay community in the 1950s to 60s, specifically on the roles of the Malay midwives. Here you can see the different photographs and artifacts showcasing the tools and the instruments used by the Malay midwives in helping to deliver babies. So this will be interesting for students because most of them would not have seen these traditional tools in helping Malay midwives to deliver babies. Continuing the theme on change and continuity, this exhibit showcases the influence of Western classical music on Malay music. We can also see different modern items being introduced to the Malay households, such as the hair dryer, beauty products, ointments, kitchen household appliances that are gradually introduced from the 1960s onwards. And we can still see traditional Malay kitchenware with Arabic inscription over there. So it helps students to see that tradition and modernity exist together. Weddings and marriages are a big part of the Malay culture. This part of the exhibit showcases the different items used in traditional Malay weddings. You can see the costumes used by the bride and groom over here that are very rich in colors, and the different items, and we can see a high-heeled shoes over there that showcase a more modern take, as well as a doll, somewhat like a Barbie doll over there. So even for Malay weddings, it has a blend of tradition and modernity. Here are some of the quotes by prominent Malay Muslim political leaders encouraging the Malay community to move forward. Family life is a big part of the Malay community. Through these photographs, past and present, students are able to see the change and continuity aspect of family life in the Malay community. Some are in black and white photographs, and some are in color. So you can see different sizes of families being portrayed here, different costumes being worn, and it's actually a very good representation. At the outer section of the second level exhibit, there's a display of fabric with intricate design showcasing the diverse cultures of the Malay archipelago. There is also a bookshelf showcasing different books written by Malay writers in both the Malay language and English language, showcasing different genres. Here at this wall, we can see prominent Malays of Singapore of different fields in the areas of politics, science, literature, sports, and in other areas, and all of them have contributed richly to the Malay community and to Singapore. Of course, this is not an exhaustive representation. Students can also use the interactive panel to find out more information about each individual. This is a corner where students or members of the public can use the post-it or scan the QR code to give their feedback and the thoughts on the newly revamped Malay Heritage Centre. As you can see, there are not many post-its as of the time of filming because it was relatively new at that point of time. This exhibit overlooks the outer area of the Malay Heritage Centre and showcases prominent Malay female directors, actresses who were visionaries in their own right. Here we can see a traditional wooden desk that was probably used by the actresses themselves, and there is a short video clip. There is a modern take perhaps on the lives of the different individuals. This next exhibit showcases an installation by an artist that allows members of the public and students to record music. So we can see an old school radio over here. There are drum sets, but I think the main way that people can record the music is through this preserved piano over here. The stairwell from the level 2 exhibition to the level 1 showcases different modern artwork that depicts a different take on the different layers of Malay culture, identity, and tradition. As you walk down, you will see an intricate design on the wall that showcases a very large web, perhaps signifying the ever-changing and evolving nature of Malay identity and tradition and how one can fit into this web. This plaque signifies that the Istana Kampong Gelam is designated as a national monument, which is a significant place in Singapore's history. So over here there's a big grass patch and the toilets are over there right at the end with a water cooler as well. And here is always a nice place, and sometimes in the past I used to bring my students to Sultan Mosque as a secondary place as well. There used to be a spice garden, an outdoor area in the past, but it has since been removed. So what has been in place of it is the NHB signs here that describes the history of Kampong Gelam, and it's a good kind of context setting for your students about the area. So it explains the different history in both English and Malay. about the place, the Istana, the royal compound, the main area, and as well as the surrounding areas as well. So this could be a good kind of context setting as you begin your historical investigation. This is the entrance by the main gate, which is nearest to the car park, and there is a side gate here as well, over here. Unfortunately, there are not a lot of sheltered places over here, so some along here in this compound, and then there is a kind of vending machine there as well, which will be very popular with the students. Yeah. Of course, if you allow your students to go over to the other side, which is the Sultan Mosque area, there is a 7-Eleven there, and there's still some shops over there which they can actually buy food and drinks. Yeah. If not, if you just want to keep them within this compound, I'm sure this area will be more than sufficient. But because there is no sheltered walkway into the compound, you need to remind your students to bring their umbrellas after alighting from the bus. Here's a close-up view of the vending machine. You see the prices are not the cheapest over here. I'm sure students will pay whatever they need to if they need a drink or a snack. And this is the toilet area, which is sheltered. There is also an outdoor exhibition gallery, but unfortunately I wasn't able to enter it. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.